the little voice in my head or not so little voice. I've never been known to be called the quiet one. So that would also mean that the voice in my head and the talker in me is not very quiet either. She's quite loud.
Welcome, Elisa Wolf. It's such a pleasure to have you here on the podcast. I've been wanting to have a conversation with Elisa, who she's a Vancouver hairstylist, but she's much more than that. She's a very interesting individual. We're going to go in the world of hairstyling, yes, of course, with a
Mhm.
professional. But in the second part of conversation, we will talk about mindfulness and mental health. And that talker, and Elisa has some insights for us. And we're going to go and see where that conversation takes us. But before we go there, I would like to ask Elisa to further introduce herself.
Hi, thank you so much, Alex, for that introduction. I'm very excited to be here. So, thank you so much
You're
again.
welcome.
Thank you for inviting me to be here talking with you. I mean, I talk for a living, so how great is that? As you mentioned, I'm a Vancouver-based hairstylist. I've been doing hair in the Vancouver community downtown I'm just coming up on year 20.
Oh
So,
my
I'm
goodness.
celebrating my 20th
Okay.
anniversary behind the chair.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's coming up in November. So my goodness, I can't even believe it. But yeah, so you can imagine I've been quite literally getting paid to talk for 20 years and make people feel good about themselves. So I'm still in business, so that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, so I specialize in hair. I specialize in everything. And I started my career predominantly doing men's cuts. And at
Okay.
mostly men's cutting, a lot of barbering. And around year 4, year 5 into my career, I wanted to kind of switch up and focus on color. And I started by entering competitions. And I thought, what better way to push myself in a new direction than to just jump into the deep end? And I started doing models and I did some color work and I got a couple of nominations under my belt. And since then, I've been full forward, full steam ahead, doing a lot of color. Alongside that, I've also taught for almost 10 years at a local hair academy. So,
Wow.
again, they paid me to talk.
so
So, I was
so
an
wait.
educator.
At year five, you said enough with men. I'm done with men. Right? Why?
I guess in a way you could say that. Yes. I guess in a way I was like, no, I really wanted to shift my focus into doing a lot of color, obviously with men's cutting and women's cutting as well. Don't get me wrong. I was doing color, but it wasn't my primary focus. And
I see.
so that's when I decided to shift. And then I think it was year 6 or 7. Ugh, can't remember now. But anyways, I actually took myself to LA and I studied at the Vidal Sassoon Academy there for color and creative color. And that was really exciting. So, like I said, it kind of got me on that competition route and just doing more exciting things. And like I said, I was also teaching. So it made me a much stronger, more knowledgeable instructor, as well as being an artist behind the chair.
Of course.
And yeah, so I would say I'm about 95% color now. And that's everything from pastels and vivid and rainbow hair, blondes, brunettes, everything. But
Wow.
I love
Okay.
it all.
Okay. For somebody like myself who's got a lot of hair,
You do. You have a
right?
wonderful haircut.
I,
It's very fashion forward,
very
Alex.
fashion forward, right? Colors are not something I know of, but
Mhm.
by listening to you and hearing a bit from my wife and girl friends that I have around, like it's a big part of like every woman, almost every woman,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. That's something that really, I think, started to take a shift. Actually, this is going, obviously quite a few years back, even kind of predating myself. But I even remember when I was quite young in the 80s. And I remember when my mom started getting her hair colored and she started coming back with highlights and different colors in her hair. And I was like, Oh my gosh, who's this new woman? So it
Y-
was really kind of in the 80s where women were really starting to kind of experiment with new colors and lots of everybody thinks perms, but
Mhm,
obviously that was a big push in the 80s too. But now where we are right now in, 2025, which is many, many years later, um, color in our hair is a true accessory to our lives.
mhm, mhm.
Color enhances our features. Color literally can change your life.
Yeah.
So it's,
The way you explain it, as I said, I wish I had some hair so I can ex
I would color it for
right,
you.
right, and expand my life here on that. I mean, but Alisa, has it changed though? I mean, 1980s, a lot of products have changed. I'm assuming
Of
coloring and the
course,
products have changed too.
absolutely.
How
Oh,
so?
completely. Um, I mean, the technology that we have in the hair industry now is phenomenal. The way that it actually protects the hair while coloring, that's also why we are seeing
Hmm.
such a huge trend in women coloring their hair and more often.
Yes,
Because what used to damage and break and hurt your hair is the exact opposite. In some cases, color can, I hate saying this, but it can almost fix your hair.
really.
So, yeah. So that's how much it's changed. And so,
Wow.
again, that's why it's also more accessible. So, it's a lot more accessible to all ages, right? So, I mean, women are coming in my chair. I mean, I've got girls who come in my chair and they're in high school still. So, it's a much more accessible thing, and like I said, the fact that technology and the products have come so
Hmm.
far, it's far less damage and a lot less risk to women and men's hair. Men
Yeah,
get their hair colored
of
too, don't
course,
get me
of
wrong.
course.
And again, that's what makes it so great to be a stylist in the industry right now.
That's
We
very
have
cool.
access to so many great things.
That's very cool. So let me pause there for a second and repeat this because it's important. I grew up when my mom was coloring her hair. She explored, right? Red, yellow, or blonde. She would go, okay, I can only do it once in so long because it damages my hair. She went
Exactly.
on that, and that's not true anymore necessarily.
To an extent, obviously, I'm
Yeah,
I am in a very broad
generalizing.
spectrum. Yeah, generalizing here. But yes, I have clients who come in regularly in, 6 to 8 week intervals where we are changing and shifting their hair color every time they come in.
Wow. Okay, that's
So
it.
it is something that you can
Yes,
do more frequently now. Now, not that I'm telling anyone out there that you can just go from black to blonde in one day.
yes.
Because even though I've been doing it for 20 years,
Yeah,
I'm a wizard, but to an
yeah.
extent. But again, can you be, black to red in one day? Absolutely. Could you be, black to JLo caramel, golden blonde? Probably. So, and that's without your hair falling off.
Hmm.
And that's really amazing.
That's an important caveat there, right?
It's a very important caveat.
Yes, yes, because we do want women and men to keep their hair, not look like me. Although I'm forward looking, right?
Yes, you're very fashion
Yes,
forward. A lot of
fashion
men are
forward.
shaving their heads. Did you see Channing Tanning? What's his name? Channing Tatum? Tatum Channing?
No, he
Oh,
shaved too.
he's
Oh, okay.
full head of hair and he
See,
shaves his head.
they all want to look like me, I guess. So,
There you
so be
go.
it. I
There
love
you
it.
go.
I love the enthusiasm you talk about with that you talk with about hairstyling. But
Hmm.
I gotta ask, where's that passion coming from? Why hairstyling? How did you get into it?
Hmm. Well, I guess I could probably start by blaming it on my obsession with Barbies from when I
Ah,
was very, very young.
okay.
I was definitely like a girly girl growing up, had all the Doyle dolls, had, all the Barbies and the doll houses. But I was even a little bit more creative than that because
Okay.
I know.
Can I say sorry to interrupt you? He just I mean I know Elisa, I've had the pleasure to know her for a while, but you don't strike me as a girl who has Barbies in the house. I don't know why. You have this strong personality and
Yes.
like I don't know. It's not an offense in any way. It's a compliment if anything, right?
Well,
So
thank you. Well,
yes,
hold that thought for
yes.
1 second.
I suppose we're gonna see some Barbies. uh, uh, there she is.
This is a very special Barbie. This was actually given to me from a client. So this isn't one from my childhood. But do you know what was so cool? Was that, oh my gosh, it's almost going to make me cry because every time I think about it, it does. She gave it to me because if you can see, so she's an astronaut.
Yes.
And she gave it to me because I always have my hair blonde and it's kind of always in a bob. So she did say that she looked like me, but she kind of does.
Yeah.
But you know what she said to me when she gave it to me?
What?
She said, if anybody can go to the moon, you can.
Wow. How about that as a message? Wow. Okay.
So she sits in my living room. So that's
we,
what I mean.
we,
Barbie, oh my gosh. If you haven't seen the Barbie movie, I know it maybe sounds like a cliche, but it is so empowering and it's such a great movie. And I love that they really went back to the message behind it by saying, like, women empower each other. So we empower ourselves and we also empower each other.
I love the
And that's
message.
truly what the power of Barbie has always meant to me. So when it started for me as a child, my mom just buying me a Barbie, she never stayed in that outfit and she never stayed with her hair done the way that she came out of the box. I cut her hair, I styled her hair, I changed it. I used markers and I used to color in hair. I started hand sewing clothes for all of my dolls and my Barbies from the time I was 5 years old.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
not even
Okay.
kidding.
Okay.
So it's always been a creative thing for me to be able to kind of express what I guess in a way it was probably like what I wanted to look
Mm-hmm.
like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be like, okay, my Barbie had long hair, but I wanted her to have short hair because then I could see what I would look like with short hair. Do you know what I mean? So it
Very
was a way of
cool.
like expressing myself through that. And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to make this dress and I'm going to make her a cow print t-shirt because that's what I was feeling like. So I
Whoa.
had the ability to do that with Barbies. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what drove me to, as an adult, um, I went to hair school in my young 20s. So I was 25 when I started hair school. And it was at that point that I was like, I knew exactly what I wanted. I'd been in
Wow.
the service industry for over a decade. And I was like, I got to
That's it.
change gears
Yeah.
and I have to start creating and making people feel good as I do.
Yeah. Well, you by that story you're telling me as a little. I mean, if we were to meet Elisa as a child, if we had asked her what you want to be as you grow up, you'd probably say something artistic, like something in a fashion or hairstyling, based on what you're
Absolutely.
telling me, right?
You're so right. At the time, if you'd asked me when I was like 5 or 6, I think I would write down sometimes the classic like doctor.
No.
I still can't stand needles and I get them done every couple of months. Like that will never happen. I can't even look at like surgeries or like people getting needles in movies without closing my eyes because I'm a child. So I will never be a doctor and that was never going to happen. But I've always wanted to be a fashion designer and that's something that was always a passion.
Yeah.
So even though hairstylist didn't really kind of come into my life till a little bit later, I knew that, like you said, it was going to somewhere be in the beauty industry at the very least. Like I
Hmm.
said, I've always wanted to make people feel good. And that's something that I knew I was going to do.
Beautiful, and that's a big one. And speaking about making feel people feel better about themselves, what do
Mm,
you is that what you love the most, or what is that you love the most about?
absolutely.
Yeah, is it?
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's such an amazing, again, talk about a feeling of empowerment, right? And it's not a power trip that I'm doing it, but it really is an amazing feeling that you can give that to someone, that someone can come and sit in my chair and tell me, like, I'm looking for something different. And when I get to create that and make that and share that with them so that they can see themselves with either this new transformed haircut or again, especially with transformative color, when they see themselves how they truly want to be seen, you can't imagine how good that feels.
Wow.
Like
Yes.
it's
No, I.
amazing.
It,
It's amazing.
you're passing it through even the wire here. No, this is amazing. This is it. As you were speaking about transformation, can AI or does AI help in any way to show people on a computer how they look? Or
That's oh wow, that's a great question. Um,
I just it's my
Maybe
mind popped. You know,
no,
it's like
it's really, I mean,
right?
obviously AI is a hot topic.
Yes,
I can totally
yes.
appreciate that. Um, yes, I think that there's always kind of been, different apps and different tools out there to help women. You can put your
Picture,
picture
yeah.
into an app, and then it'll change your color and
Mm-hmm.
kind of see what you'll look like. So obviously, that's going to be a bit AI generated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that could be quite helpful, especially for someone who's doing a very like transformative color.
Yes.
Um, but the accuracy of it until it actually happens and you're wearing it. And because remember that, like, again, going back to what I said earlier, your hair is an accessory, right?
Yes.
So it's something we wear.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of look at hair like that in a different way. And so when it's something that you wear, it's also something that you feel. So just
Mm-hmm.
by looking at yourself on a screen, you're going to be like, okay, I like it, but I don't know. Well, the I don't know is how am I going to feel in that hair
The
color?
feeling part, yeah. You can't generate that with a with a
AI
photo, right?
can't
No,
generate that.
no, 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 no.
So hopefully I'll never be out of a job.
No, no. And this wasn't meant to mean that way. I was thinking maybe as an
Of
addition,
course.
as a tool for you.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Absolutely. I mean, it is because in a way, um, people bring me photos, inspiration photos all the time. And some of them I can see have been, either AI generated or, tuned up and edited somehow,
hmm
right? So
okay.
I kind of have to decipher that a little bit. So sometimes AI doesn't always help
No, fair enough.
in what we do. But like I said, it can still
it,
be helpful in some ways
it
too.
is a
Don't get me
tool.
wrong.
It is
Yeah,
a
it
tool.
is definitely a tool. Absolutely. I use it for my own personal use. So I'm
No,
for it.
no, fair enough. Not many people that out there that don't use it in some capacity, right? It's just part
Absolutely.
of life.
Yeah, I'm pro. I'm pro AI. I can't say I'm
Yeah,
against it.
that's fair. But back to hair though.
hmm
If I was picture me as this beautiful, handsome guy with long hair, right? How,
Long.
long hair,
Ooh,
right?
okay.
Long hair. How do I choose a hairstylist? I go online. I've never been to anyone in the city here. I'm new to the city. How do I choose a hairstyle that won't mess up my hair? Because I've heard of women more, but also men. Like I went to that person and look at my hair now.
Sure. Well, I think anytime you're trying out something new, you are, somewhat taking a risk, right?
hmm hmm
But obviously now you have Google reviews and we have social media.
hmm
So first thing that I would do, again, I'm shopping around for a personal trainer. If you
yes.
have any recommendations, please let me know.
Okay.
So what have I done? I went to Google and I also went on my Instagram, and that's where I'm going to find people, right? So I'm going to type in what I'm looking for, and then I start looking at their pages. So on Instagram, for instance, I'm looking at their pages, and it's such an amazing thing because you get to see a body of their work. You
yes.
get to see their visual and virtual representations of what they're doing. Google is where you would go to see where, obviously client feedback.
hmm hmm
I'm not always dead set on how many star. Well, I mean, if you have a 1 star, I'm probably not going. But I'm not like necessarily looking at that, but I am reading customer
Customer
feedback
feedback. Yeah.
because that's important to me,
hmm
right? But then what I'm also looking for is the response to that too, right? So
Oh,
if somebody has put up something that like wasn't, totally positive, how did that person respond? And that's going to say a lot about them too.
correct.
So
Agreed.
that's a bit more deep
No,
diving. But
agreed.
again, if you're looking for a new stylist and you are kind of nervous, read the reviews, read the feedback from that stylist and their responses, and then go and find a body of their work. Like I
hmm
said, it might be TikTok, it might be YouTube, and it might be Instagram.
hmm And is it possible, even if you do that, is it possible and is it important not to actually connect with that person? Besides how great they are, is that
Um,
important?
I mean, I think it is.
Yes. Fair.
I think interpersonal connection is very important.
hmm
especially now, since I would say, generally speaking, most of my appointment times run from anywhere to 2 to 4 hours. So if you're spending that much time with me and I'm spending that much time with you, I think it's in our both general interest that we do get along and that we
Yes.
can be, vibing and or meshing on some
Hmm.
level,
Hmm.
right? Now, I know that can be hard at first, but I think if you give that person a phone call, call up the business, um, you're going to hear it right away, either in their voice or in their message. Like, does this
Is that
person sound annoying? Does this
mhm.
sound like somebody I want to work with? Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that you can get from that. I offer free consultations. So I strongly encourage people to come in and do consultations with me as well.
Mhm.
My feelings will never be hurt if you decide to never come back and see me again. And it's happened before.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's fair. It's business, right? It's not personal.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I learned quite a bit from it within 20 minutes. So what I'm gonna do, you
Great.
can see this absolute contagious energy that Elisa has, and so what we're gonna do is we're going to put the contact information in descriptions of everywhere we put this podcast, so you can reach out Elisa. She did say free consultation, which means
Absolutely.
take advantage of that. You're going to learn from
Hmm.
her whether you decide to continue or not. So thanks, Elisa, for that. Now, I want to transition into the topic that is a bigger part of this conversation podcast, and that's mindfulness or mental health, or the
Right.
talker, as I said. Now, a lot has been said in the last, say, 20 years about mindfulness. So, rightly so, right? I mean, it's a big topic.
Hmm.
I want to start.
Absolutely.
I want to start with a kind of an opening question on that, and that is, when I say the talker in you, Elisa, what comes to mind?
That's the little voice in my head, or not so little voice. I've never been known to be called the quiet one, so that would also mean that the voice in my head and the talker in me is not very quiet either. She's quite loud.
It's a she. We know it's a
Of
she.
course, absolutely. She's always telling me what to do. That's the first thing that comes to mind. The talker in you. That's the first thing that comes to mind is the voice in my head. What
Okay.
is driving me? What's telling me what to do? Um, some people might think that's gut instinct, but it's actually not even gut instinct. I definitely have gut instincts as well, but it's the voice of my own reason.
Mhm. Does she have a name? You said it's a she, but does she have a name?
No, I've never named her.
Some people do, so I was just wondering. Okay, you made a very clear, very important distinction. It's not a gut feeling, and I totally agree. Gut feeling,
Hmm.
even for me, it's very different. Gut feeling has to do more with, for me, anyways. It's kind of a knowing. It's like hmm,
Yes.
where the talker can be very not only not knowing, but it can project so much crap, right? That's not
Yeah.
uncertain, right? Okay, so
Well, have you heard this saying, why do I talk to myself? Because I'm the smartest person I know.
okay, that's interesting.
So, never heard that before?
Well, not quite that way.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Uh,
I say it all the time. People are like, are you talking to yourself? Well, yeah, of course I am. I'm the smartest person I know.
okay. Well,
You know what? Listen, I I do sometimes talk to myself. But again, my voice is always running in my head. I'm always listening to myself in a lot of different ways. Like, what am I going to do today? So when I'm writing down my to-do list, well, obviously it's coming from here. So I'm
mhm,
breaking it down. But also even when I'm at work and I'm formulating colors and I'm formulating, color transformations, it's not a gut instinct. It's her up here who's telling me and guiding me through
mhm,
this, right?
mhm.
So I've really learned to trust that inner talker, and I've really learned to trust that inner voice, um to help me guide through these things basically every single day.
Wow. Okay. So what you're referring to then is maybe more of the practical voice that kind of helps
Hmm.
you on a practical level, go
Yeah.
through the day, through life, which has a great, obviously, play or part in our life. But has that voice ever, uh, or does it ever turn to negative or self-critique, or where it's not a
Oh
friend
yeah,
but a problem?
absolutely. I mean, honestly, I think I'd be a liar if I said otherwise. I think overall, I would say overall I'm a pretty positive person. But I think, like I said, I think we all experience those moments. I think
Hmm.
we're all, going to have those moments that of self-doubt, of some self-negativity. And sure, absolutely, I do experience that. Um, Nothing that I feel like I haven't been able to talk myself through, though, which
Hmm.
is really great.
Hmm.
And I feel like a lot of those tools I've been able to also get through talk therapy. So I have a therapist that I've been seeing for the last, oh, I think it's going on, I'm going to say 4 years. And I would say even more so in the last 2 years, I've decided to really kind of work more on that mental health journey for myself to really make sure that I have the tools to be able to talk through with myself, these different negative moments that come up. And it's been really useful for me.
Very cool. So thank you for mentioning mental health. And you're right. Like you said, I'll be lying if I say no. Everybody hears this voice, and it's almost
Of
everybody
course.
has some level of negativity or
Sure.
criticism, right?
Absolutely. Oh, for sure.
It's
Absolutely.
part of it. But you said mental health journey. What part does the talker play in the need for mental health?
Mm,
If I can say it
Again,
that
when
way.
it get, yeah, if I think I'm answering it correctly,
Hmm.
again, sometimes it gets to that point where I'm talking it through with myself, if you will. Um and and I feel like I'm just not getting the right answers, and I think that's what happens sometimes when you get those negative blocks or when you get those negative days. Unfortunately, it's just not going to give you the right answers to make you feel better
Hmm.
and to make you come out of that. Whereas I feel like when I go and I'm regular, even when I'm not in a down or having a bad moment, I'm still talking to my therapist regularly, even when things are great, because I feel like I'm still learning those tools to continue to talk myself through those negative moments. Even
Mm.
even though my life is great, everything well feels great, everything's going along well, I still go and do a check-in.
Hmm.
Those mental health check-ins, like those meetings and those are just as important. But like I said, I learn a lot
Maintenance.
from those for those down moments because I can remind myself that, hey, a few months ago, I was just sitting down having a great conversation with my therapist talking about how great things were. So, what was I doing then and what am I doing now? What can I go back and, do to undo these negative feelings that I'm getting right now to feel that good again?
Got good again. Oh, I see. Okay. Very cool. Would you share some of these tools that you're using that work for you?
Okay, great. Again, I don't I don't want to feel like a broken record or a cliche
No,
when I
please.
say these things. But journaling is a big thing for me. I journal every single night. So it's not a strict bedtime routine, but I definitely have myself a pretty good routine at
Hmm.
evening time, after I've washed my face and done all my stuff like that, which is still a really lovely way to kind of like mentally unwind.
Hmm.
Even for men, just so you
For
know. So it's
sure.
not just for
Uh-huh.
women, but that ritual of like washing the day away. So when you're rinsing and you're washing your face and you give yourself like a gentle like exfoliant or like that facial oil, that treatment, you can't know like how relaxing that actually is until you get into like the
Yes.
actual rituality of it. And
Hmm.
it's very cleansing and it's really lovely. So that is a big one for me. By that point, red lights in my house. I'm a big believer of that. So no blue lights, no tech in the bedroom, no TV in the bedroom, no nothing like that. So
Beautiful.
turn down all the lights. I've got one small reading light beside my bed. And then at that point, I start to journal. So even if nothing as exciting has happened that day, like maybe I just went to Costco,
Hmm.
not exciting. But
Not on the
but
busy hours. It's not.
no, it's not exciting. But again, even if it's just a mundane Monday, like whatever, it's still the idea of like, for me, it's kind of clearing the cache. I'm
Yeah.
kind of
It's
clearing my head.
yes. Yes.
So and sometimes even on those really boring days, I'll end up writing like 4 or 5 page in my journal because I'll just start like writing about what I'm going to do the next day, or I start, and then I feel like I kind of like I kind of just clear my head. So, like I said,
Yes.
kind of clear the cache, get any of those negative thoughts out. Maybe something bad did happen. Oh, I could be journaling for a long time at that point. But at that point, I'm kind of writing it through. And it's almost a way of like letting go. So,
Yeah.
kind of like let go. I can clear my head. I know I'm still going to get a good sleep. I'm not going to have that hamster on a
Mm-hmm,
wheel,
mm-hmm.
going all night. And on top of that, I have a gratitude journal. So this one is the 5 minute journal. Um, Again, not a sponsor, but a big, big fan. And I've been writing in it very every single day. It's twice a day. So you write in it for 5 minutes in the morning, and then you write in it 5 minutes in the evening. So it sets your gratitude and what you're thankful for in the morning. And then in the evening, you write down basically like, what are three great things that happened today? Or you could write down, what are three things that I'm grateful that happened today? So again, it's another way to kind of like hit that reset.
Wow.
Um, I know. So I do that as well. And then I read. I am, I love reading. I've been a huge reader my whole life. And like I said, I don't scroll on my phone. I'm not reading TikToks. That's fine. I am not judging by any means. But like I said, I am a no tech at night girl.
After what
And
time?
so that will depend.
Depend. Okay.
I don't have like that's why I'm like it's not such a strict routine that I'm in bed at 10 o'clock. It's whenever the mood hits.
Mm-hmm,
Basically, is
mm-hmm.
like what? I think I'm ready to go wind it down and start this right. Um, if I know it's been a rough day, I'm probably going to bed and doing this earlier because I know I'm going to be writing for a while. But I am a little bit of a night owl, so I do tend to stay up
Wow.
late. But those are my big things. I think having some kind of a nighttime routine can really help. Just like I said, to just kind of reset that mental health every single day.
Okay.
And then, like I said, when I wake up in the morning and I do my gratitude journal, that's basically I take my eye mask off. It's right beside my bed. So it's like before I've had my morning water, before I've even had my morning pee, I'm writing this down. So it's the first thing that comes to top of mind.
Wow.
And it's a really great feeling because you can wake up feeling like, oh gosh, I feel good today. And I like this morning, I wrote down, I'm so grateful for all my friends. And it's like, and you know what I've been doing all day? I've been literally reaching out to my friends and my close inner circle all day because
Beautiful.
it's like, it's top of mind
Mm-hmm,
that it's made me feel like I am so grateful
mm-hmm.
for my girlfriends that I have in my life. They are so good to me. And I need to make sure that I'm connecting with them so that they know that.
Yeah, that's
So
beautiful. So hopefully
taking
tonight the podcast will be on your list. I'm so grateful we had a
I
podcast with
will be
Elisa.
writing it. Well, I did write that. I wrote on my gratitude and then it wrote, what are three things I want to do today? And I wrote on there podcast.
Yay!
So,
Okay.
yes, when I write this evening, my recap will be, yay, did a great podcast.
This was
I
amazing. I wanna recap some of the things you said and we'll continue because you said so many. I wrote down things.
know,
Um,
I'm sorry.
no, it's and I don't want to stop you because there's so much passion about this.
Mhm.
These tools you have. Writing things down. Let's start there. Writing things
Yes.
down. It's probably
Yes.
a life saving, changing tool
Sure.
that anybody can be
Absolutely.
using because.
Whether that's journaling or just writing out basically a to-do list at
Hmm.
night.
Hmm.
Just get it out of
Get
your
out.
head before you go to bed.
Exactly. No,
Okay.
absolutely. So you did a couple things with that, right? You first you name the problem if it's a problem, or you put it on a paper, right? That so
Yes.
it's not circulating here. And if it's a to
Exactly.
do, like you said, it's also on a piece of paper. And if it's a
Hmm.
great feeling, also you're confirming it again, you're reliving it again, you're strengthening it, which is also beautiful. So
Hmm.
this writing and the gratitude part, I recommend to everybody. I've done it, continue to do it when I need to. It's beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is. It's really
A
great.
question though, you said the hamster wheel popped in there casually
Oh,
in that, right?
oh
So
my God. I call it hamster head. I don't, I
okay,
think everybody
hamster head.
has a different name for
Okay,
it, but I call it hamster head because it's like that hamster on a wheel.
okay,
So it's just that like click, 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 click,
yeah, yeah.
click.
It's
That,
beautiful. Can we
oh my
say
gosh. Well, I hate hamster head.
it?
And
But isn't that the talker though? Part of her?
little bit, but again, okay, you know what? That's a great point of you saying it. And you know what? Thank you. I usually put a bit more of a negative connotation on the hamster on the wheel,
Hmm.
but you actually just kind of put a positive one on it.
Hmm.
So thank you for that,
Hmm.
because maybe I should look at it a little bit more positively. But the way that I get hamster head is when the anxiety kind of creeps in. And
Oh.
for me, that's usually at night when if I'm going to get anxiety or if I'm going to get some of those negative thoughts, those actually come at night. And so that's when that negative kind of hamster wheel comes in and I can't get that out of my head. So then if I'm going to try to sleep that night, I know that's all I'm going to be thinking about. So that means that my sleep is now going to be
Hmm.
disturbed. And it also means I'm probably going to wake up the next morning with really no relief from that and probably no answers.
Hmm.
And then I'm feeling kind of crappy because I probably didn't sleep that great.
That's common for many, 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 many
Oh,
beautiful humans.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, is there any tools for that?
Well, like I said, the writing that I do is definitely what clears that for me.
Absolutely.
And even for me, anyways, that works even more um, efficiently than actually talking it out. Because sometimes for me, when I'm talking things out, let's say with my partner, maybe we've hit a little bit of a rough patch. I know it happens to all of us, but I make the mistake again and again and again, and I need to keep working on it again and again of working through those issues at night instead of focusing on more of that nighttime ritual that I know is
Mm,
actually going to be better for me. Does that make sense?
it makes perfect
So
sense.
talking those negative things through at night for me doesn't work. Whereas if I'm writing it down and like I said, I'm kind of like putting it to paper and be like, I'm going to look at this tomorrow.
Hmm.
It gives me that moment to breathe. It gives me time to kind of step back from that issue. It gives me a moment to stop and kind of
Hmm.
pause that negativity. And then I can like, okay, if I have to come back to this tomorrow, I can. But
Hmm.
hopefully tomorrow I've got a fresh perspective. I've got fresh eyes. And or maybe I've got a therapy session. Oh,
That would greatly help, right?
exactly.
That's a good point. I
If
like
not,
it.
I'm calling a girlfriend.
For a free session.
Friend. What a friend.
I like it. So that negative, we all experience it. There is
Oh, for
no, it
sure.
doesn't. The one that
We can't
creates
escape it. We
no.
can't escape it.
But what's its
There is no.
purpose? What's like? I mean, if you had a friend that called you at 9 o'clock at night when those thoughts typically come in or at night
Yeah,
and
I
start
know it does.
talking to you about it, Elisa, I mean, I'm just quoting here, like, Elisa, you suck, you
Mhm.
this, you that, just kind of like the negative thoughts could be like, but you'd hang up on that friend and maybe she won't be your friend for too long. And yet we kind of tend to fall into that voice every once in a while.
Absolutely.
So why are we not dropping that voice kind of like you drop a negative friend?
You know what? If you find the cure to that, you won't even need this podcast anymore.
Well, that you know,
I don't know why we do that. That's an awesome question and that's an awesome point. Like why are we not doing that? But like I said, I think that's why talk therapy is
mhm,
so important. And if you aren't talking to an actual, professional, like a therapist, hopefully you've got some good friends who can give you some good feedback. That's what I think I appreciate so much about my girlfriends. And I definitely have some friends that I probably lean on more than others. And the reason is because they give me very good feedback and they make a lot of sense, right? Where they're the ones who will tell me like, why are you being like this? Like you're so
mhm,
much better than this.
mhm.
um and it's not just the classic like mom like, oh, everybody loves you, you're perfect. Because sometimes I don't actually
You
want to
need
hear
that, yeah.
that. But yeah, like I said, that's a great question. Why
It's
do we not drop those negative phone calls that we do to ourselves?
to ourselves, right?
But you know what, I think it also keeps us in check. And as much as I hate those moments and I don't want to have those days, I still learn a lot from those days. It's the same adage as you will always learn from your mistakes. So you have to take those negative moments and those negative phone calls. That's a great way to put it. Those negative phone calls we give ourselves, and you really got to learn from them.
and that's a great point if they're learnable, or what I'm trying to say is like some people go into anxiety and depression where it's almost
Yes.
like it's it feels so horrible that you can't have the moment of learning. So what about,
That's
like,
true. There's
right?
no teachable moment there.
Hmm.
I see what you're saying. Um, oh, that's a tough one. I can't say that you know, can really talk too much on the truly in depth on the topic of depression because I can't say that I've really ever
Hmm.
experienced that before, right? Um, and
And
yes,
hopefully you
I've
never
had.
do.
Yeah,
It's
and
right.
and and I've definitely had my down moments and I've had my negative moments and I have my anxious moments, absolutely, for sure. But to truly say that I've had those, like those deep downs and those depressions, I haven't experienced that. My son, however, does. And it's really hard to watch him go through
Hmm.
those moments, especially because he's only 20 and he's been experiencing that since he was, I think the first deep dive for him was probably when he was around 14, 15 years old. And it's been really, really hard. He doesn't use talk therapy. He doesn't really believe in it. He's still very young.
Hmm.
He does talk to me, but there can be, days, if not sometimes weeks, where he's quite unresponsive, and it's really sad, and it's really too bad. Um, but I do try to encourage him to learn from those moments if
Hmm.
he at all can.
Hmm.
I always ask him if there was any if there was any point that he could recognize that, kind of started that, what was kind of, like I said, what was that starting point? Can we go back to that and learn to avoid that and or like undo it? Right.
Hmm.
Just like I try to do with, like I said, those kind of negative moments that I'm like, okay, when I'm really feeling good, can I remind myself why I'm feeling good so that if I do have a bad day, I can look back on that.
Wow, and this is a very, thanks for sharing this. This is must be very tough as a mom, and I'm a parent too.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
were to watch your daughter, son, your child to go through depression, even a friend, right? It's not
absolutely. Or a partner,
a
like seeing
partner.
your life partner, going through these times. Like I said, my heart literally breaks and goes out
Hmm.
to everyone who experiences, these moments.
Hmm.
And again, when you're so close to someone who is, I'm not saying that I'm experiencing it with him, but it still deeply affects me,
Of
when it's
course,
happening. And it's not his fault.
no,
It really
no.
isn't.
No.
It's no one's fault that this is happening to them.
Hmm.
But it's really too bad because, he really does blame himself a lot of
Hmm.
times when he's in those moments. Um,
Well, that's the, I mean, you're one of the rare people, and I have to say this, that associates the talker with positivity. You're a positive person for the most part. Like you said, I'm quoting your words, and it's true. That is true. People can gauge that from that conversation. You're
mhm,
very upbeat and positive. And you're the first person, well, one of the few that associate the talker with something positive.
mm,
And maybe that's how it is but for many, not all have depression like you sound, but many do associate that self-talk as a blame, as a
mm,
negative, as a,
right,
as a spiral down. So in my
right,
experience, and what I recommend and what's worked for me is really being absolutely present and accepting of that situation, right? And
absolutely.
trying to avoid by all costs self-blame. Like you said, it's not my fault, it's not his
Yes.
fault, right? This is
Hmm.
not a fault thing, right?
Yes,
um
exactly. Nope, that's exactly it. And I think what I've also learned through the years is, I've always told him that it's okay that you're going through this,
mhm.
and telling yourself that this is okay, that this is happening right now. It's not great, right? But you have to still
Mhm,
accept that it's happening. You
mhm.
have to recognize that this is happening. And like you said, if you can do that without blame,
Mhm.
that, I
Guilt.
didn't do this to myself. And like you said, I, I can only imagine the guilt, what happens
Mhm.
when he comes out of these moments of these deep downs. he has this tremendous guilt that he's like, I haven't accomplished anything in the last couple weeks. I haven't been able to do anything with myself. And then he gets even more guilt. And
Hmm.
again, I have to just keep reminding him that it's okay. It's okay that this happened.
Hmm.
It's not your fault, but let's move on. It's time
Beautiful.
to pick it up
Beautiful.
and let's keep going. And now that you're feeling better, let's focus on that positive. And
Beautiful.
I know that's easier said out
Than
loud
that.
than done. But like I said, whatever you can do to keep trying to turn that little voice into a more positive one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody is so quick to say, get outside, get
Hmm.
activity, go to the gym.
Hmm.
I do believe in all those things, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, but that's not maybe the answer for everyone. So maybe the answer is to cook yourself a really good meal, feed yourself. Um, there's so many
Yeah.
other
No.
things,
True. 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 And he's lucky to have you as a mom with all these things that you said, because
Mhm.
uh, when that voice is that negative, if somebody comes and yells at you, go to the gym and hug life, you will feel further. There's a potential that you feel further depressed because, oh, okay, I gotta look at this person is so
Yeah,
happy and excited, and I can't even do that. So they
yeah,
need, I think, in my opinion, is that support that you're providing, really being centered and surrendering to now
yeah.
to learn from this, because the brain does learn eventually, right?
Yes, it does. I agree.
From these
Absolutely.
experiences.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
so, and you know, uh, that's probably, if we call depression, that's a thing of almost, I want to say, of this new generation that we are,
Hmm.
because of so many factors. It isn't an individual
Oh, yeah.
factor like a parent or a thing.
Hmm.
It's a collective problem, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like I said, depression and those downs, they affect everyone around you
They do.
too, right? So, especially when I see, like you said, this younger generation, of my son's age, he's just 20. So, he's a baby for goodness sake still, right?
Hmm.
But, to think that he's been, feeling like this for the last 5 years, so starting at like 15, that's a reality that our kids are going through that. And our friends, our young friends, our old friends, everyone has these times. And it really does affect society. It affects everyone. So, mental health is a group issue.
It
It's a
is.
community and a societal issue that
Hmm.
we all need to be aware of and talking about and sharing. Again, I love this,
Hmm.
sharing these insights and these tools about what I can do to help, keep
Beautiful.
myself moving forward, and hopefully help you move forward
Hmm.
or someone else.
Hmm. And it does, and that's why I started this. And on this podcast, we have quite a few clinical consultants, or not consultants, but counselors. Pardon me.
Hmm.
So you please do share with your son. But there will be some professionals on that podcast coming up too, with some
Great.
further tools to share. And
That's wonderful.
we wish him best of luck, because he's not alone there.
Yeah.
So tell him, Alex, and everybody who's listening, he's not alone.
I
He's
will.
not
I will.
alone, right?
No, and
Like,
it's
it's
true. And
not.
that goes out, like I said, to everyone out there, I think it's just really important to
Hmm.
remember that again, it's not your fault if you're going through those moments. And hopefully you can just know and understand that it's not going to last forever.
No.
Hopefully you can have a great group of people around you who are going to support you and lift you up when you need it. And like you said, working on that inner blame game and things that you can do when you're in that,
Hmm.
upturn, when you're in that more positive turn, what can you be doing to keep that positivity going? I
Hmm.
think is what a lot of people need to focus on, right?
Exactly.
Like you said, we focus on the negative. Oh my God, I'm in such a bad way right now. And you get into a tailspin of what am I going to
Hmm.
do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then we get happy and positive, but then we're not doing anything.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So then you just stop because you're like, well, I'm okay now. But you have to still nurture that positivity
Correct.
and those good times instead of nurturing those bad times. I mean, you
Correct.
have to do that too to help
Correct.
weed yourself out of it, but nurture those positive times and see what happens.
Correct. Correct. Out of those positive times, Elisa said it very well. You can look back. You have it's kind of like a window of opportunity to look back and learn from the negative, right? Kind of
Yeah.
a confirmation. Oh, and then next time they get weaker and shorter, and then so forth, right? That's kind of the goal.
Hopefully. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
And
Yeah. It's about
speaking,
just gaining that empowerment, gaining that
correct,
control,
correct.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
and it is all that, because at the end of the day, it's that voice in our head,
Mm-hmm.
in our head.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can turn your phones off. You don't have to listen to
Mm-hmm.
TikTok and
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and YouTube. You don't have to listen to any of that outside craziness. Turn all that off. And at the end of the day, your inner voice is louder than anything else that's out there.
Correct.
So once you
Correct.
learn to, love that inner voice and work with him and work
Mm-hmm.
with her,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just so much to gain from that.
Correct. The path is there. Well, last comment on that topic of depression for all the folks who are going through. Just a reminder. I know it's not easy. That the
Mhm.
wave will eventually subside. Right. Like just
Mhm.
at the moment of it, it's very difficult. I know, but you're not
Yeah.
alone, and keep at it. Um, Now, self-criticism.
Mm.
Continuing that sort of the same topic. I want
Mhm.
to take that back to the chair, the salon chair, though.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I think, and please check me if I'm wrong, they may be, or maybe you tell me, for some clients, it may be like, as soon as I sit on that chair, there may be some self criticism. I don't look good enough. I'm not enough. Is
Mhm.
that, can you, or are you able to tell if the negative talker is coming up in for clients, one on the chair?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I do hear that from clients. Um, and immediately I feel like I have the ability to kind of turn that around, you know? Um, I like to use humor a lot of
Yes,
times
yes, I
because
see.
obviously, like, humor, I like to laugh.
Yes,
Humor is joyful, and it's a great way to make people feel comfortable, right?
exactly.
So you get someone to laugh, and already the endorphins are going through their body, and you're already feeling better, right?
Yes.
So I'll often, give a little tap on the shoulder and be like, none of that talk here, whatever it might be, right? So whatever comes to me, I don't know, whatever kookiness. But I think that's what I like to try to do because, again, I talk for a living, literally. I talk every single day, all day long to my clients, to my guests. Um,
So you're a hairstylist, and I'm gonna write here hyphen
Uh-huh.
therapist as well on the chair, on the
Yes,
chair,
that's
on
been,
the chair.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Most hairstyling sessions are also therapy sessions. Because remember, I don't know your friends and family. So I have a very unbiased opinion. So when you come and you sit with me and you start kind of telling me all these things, I don't know who you're referencing to. I don't know,
Hmm.
right? I know you, and maybe I don't even know you. Oftentimes, a lot of these conversations I have with new clients, oh man, they can be quite wild.
Yeah, yeah, I can
But I
imagine.
really like that because again, I'm still an ear to listen.
Yes.
And if I can give any feedback, if I can give any words of advice, I definitely will. I'm obviously not any type of a professional by any means, but like I said, because I am such a true believer in talk therapy. I think all talk therapy is great.
Hmm.
So, just talking about things that are going on in your life, whether positive or negative, is such a great empowering feeling.
Hmm.
And so that's what I get to do all day. I get to talk
Beautiful.
about me. I get to talk about you. I get to talk about my clients, anyone who's sitting in my chair.
Beautiful.
And instantly they're already releasing things and they already feel better. And I can already see every time someone leaves my chair. I mean, obviously the goal is to make them my goal is to make you look better than when you
When
walked
you
in
walked
my
in,
door.
yes.
So, and I think I'm pretty good at it by
Very
now.
well.
But at the end of the day, I also want you to feel better.
Hmm.
So it's
Wow.
about looking and feeling better. So if you get to feel a little lighter because you feel like you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, like I feel great. I love this do. I might not have really done a whole lot to your hair, but sometimes just talking for the last 2 hours already makes you look better
Yeah.
because you're
Wow.
lighter. You're lighter. You've unloaded some things.
This is amazing. So you know what I'm thinking? People are listening, listening and watching, are thinking right now. Well, Elisa, like we've said, is very positive and bubbly. I
Mhm.
want to be more like her. So you have to tell us the secret here now.
You have to wake up and go to the gym, and then you have to go. No, just kidding.
Tony Robbins style. You gotta go, go, go.
Well, like I said before, I strongly recommend. It's actually a gift that I love sharing even with my friends is I gift the 5 minute journal. Like I said, I am not sponsored. But if you want to share a link to it, I will share you the link to it.
Yes,
I'm a
please.
true believer
Hmm.
in the 5 minute journal. Like I said, it's literally 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening. And it is basically a gratitude response, right? So it's like you wake up and you start your day feeling grateful, and you wake up every single day, and the more you get into it, you're almost like excited to pick it up and start writing. It's like you've already
Wow.
thought about things in, and like I said, it really does kind of reset your overall mood. And
I'm gonna
so
start that. I'm gonna do that. I've done something similar, but I'm gonna do the 5 minutes
yeah,
one that
it's
that
so
Elisa will
great.
share with us.
It's so great. It's such a simple, beautiful, straightforward format.
Sign me
And I've
up.
tried other gratitude journals, but this is the one that definitely works
Resonate.
for me. So if you want to be more like me, try
That's the
it.
one.
Um,
But before the
yes.
journaling, though, I mean, let's take you back when you were a little, like maybe teenager or a little kid. Have you always been upbeat and optimistic, or has that is the turning point in your life? You said, "Oh, I don't want to be this person. I'm going to be this person."
No, I think I mean, I've always been very like high energy and high positivity for sure. Um, yeah, I can't really remember a time when I was.
Is there so? There's
I've
no
always been
hope.
really loud and giggly and silly, and even though I've gone through my ups and downs through my life, but yeah, this is pretty much me. This is
Okay, so is there any hope for us then to be more like you, or
yes,
that you're born?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think oh my gosh, there's so many little things. So many little things. Um
Well, you've given
I
us a lot already,
oh
and
man,
this.
I could have a whole other hour of talking about it. But okay, here's another one. Here's another one. Um, I did this like this would probably be like, let me see where are we at right now. I'm gonna say
20.
this was close to a decade ago. I gave myself what I called the year of yes.
Okay.
And that meant that basically anything that came my way, I said yes to.
Okay.
Because it's really easy to say no,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little harder to say yes. And then you have to commit to it.
Yes.
And this at that time, exactly. You're like, do I say yes? Yes.
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 Um, and you just honestly, what happened in that year, which then turned, well, it's turned into quite a few years really. Um, I started my Instagram page. I went out for business on my own. So I started my own small business and went on my own. I was working in a really big commission salon. And then I started doing my own personal classes. So I started doing my own like live education, and I think in that same year, I also found myself onto a stage, a platform where I was teaching to like 100,000 people or something like that,
Wow.
which I then continued. So, and that was just literally like riding this wave of just saying yes, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
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 And I did jobs for free. I did a whole bunch of things that I would never have
Hmm.
otherwise done at
Hmm.
that point in my life. And I was very, very, very busy. I was
Hmm.
completely like stretched to the
Hmm.
max. My son was young too, obviously. But it was such an important time because even when my gut was like, oh God, no, I don't want to do this, I still said yes.
Wow. Okay.
And when I started saying yes to more things, it was like so many opportunities opened up.
Mhm.
And when you
Beautiful.
have more opportunities to come into your life, you get to meet more people and your horizons are
Hmm.
expanded. And guess what? You're going to feel really good about yourself.
Hmm.
And
Very
isn't that
cool.
what this is all about? Is
It
feeling
is.
positive and feeling good
It
about
is.
yourself?
It is. It is. Wow.
Please.
Wow. Kind of towards the end of conversation, but I mean, it's hard to top this, feeling good about yourself. And this is kind of,
It's a
but
good way to sign off.
no, but it is, Elisa, right? Like, speaking about the negative part of that talker is that the fact that we often so negative about ourselves, which is Now, the other way, how about the positive? How about the love, the care, the nurturing,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
gratitude towards this beautiful saying? Sometimes people say, oh, look at this cute little kitten. Oh, look at this beautiful dolphin. And that's correct. But what about what
Hmm.
are you telling to yourself? You're also a beautiful being. When was
Oh,
the last time you said that
absolutely.
to yourself, right?
Absolutely. This morning.
Oh, there you go. Beautiful, beautiful.
You should tell yourself good things like
Of
that, you know,
course.
like again, even if it's just like, oh, I look cute in these jeans, or oh, I love these shoes, or I love the way this cow print makes me feel because it's so ridiculous.
Yes.
It's so silly.
Well, not
But
yes,
when I
as
put
in
this shirt on, it makes me feel good because it's so silly. So
that's
you got to do
beautiful.
those things
That's
sometimes.
beautiful. Okay, well, there you have it, you folks. We have one more question, which is the lending question in a second here. But I think Elisa gave us a bit of her world when it comes to hairstyling and kind of the
Hmm.
really therapy she's doing on the chair with these folks, not
And
not
myself.
and yourself. We talked a lot about different aspects. We talked about maybe some possible positive aspects of the talker, of her talker. I talked about some went the dark all the way to depression. So the voice has this, and in my mind, Elisa, the talker is all that. I put it all, like all those
Hmm.
voices, whether they come as
Oh,
positive
absolutely.
all the
Hmm.
way down to anxiety and depression. For me, that's one package.
Hmm.
And so I mean, like Lisa said, we can talk another hour or two, part two next year maybe. But I want to end up with this lending question, and that is, if that talker, especially the negative part, was an actual real human being in front of you right now, if your talker was, what would you tell her?
Shut up. Just shut the heck up. That would probably be my gut instinct. And I'd probably not even say it that nice. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, if it's a negative voice that comes through, that's the first thing I'd say. It's just shut up.
Is it possible for the world, for the humanity, for humans, uh, to live without that talker? What would life look like?
Again, I think we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier that I mean, obviously if no one had to go through these suffering moments of these downs and this depression, um obviously I'd love to say that this world would be so wonderful and so beautiful because those negative feelings are also contagious, unfortunately. So it can spread to other people because you're down, you're not good. So
Yes.
misery loves company. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of happens. So I think that, generally speaking, I think obviously society would probably be a heck of a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the new reality needs, like I said, to be more focusing on getting rid of the self, blame and the criticism,
Mm-hmm.
and start focusing more on being like, it's okay. I know this is happening. And I think people just need to accept it a little bit more,
Correct.
even if you're, again, like myself, I don't experience depression, but seeing someone so close to me go through it, I'm starting to understand a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being upset about it, and instead of dismissing it
Mm-hmm.
quickly, um, I'm accepting of it. And so people can be more accepting of that this is happening around us, and that this is
Totally.
happening to our friends and our coworkers and our loved ones, and just know that we need to just be there to be someone to lean on, to be a support system,
Totally.
that I think we can all get through it a lot quicker.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything that you wanted to mention in the topic of mental health or mindfulness that we have not discussed to end with?
No, I think we talked through some great things today.
I agree. I agree.
You've
Well,
sure let me ramble on, so thank you.
now thank you, Elisa, for being part of Mind Triumph podcast. It was a definite pleasure. I really, really thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Thanks again for asking.